A very subtle piece of information that we got from Monster Hunter Wilds trailer all the way back in December was the very possible return of two iconic features from Capcom's most successful title, Scoutflies and Slinger. At this point in time, we don't know with 100% certainty that they are indeed in the upcoming game, let alone at what capacity. However, the possibility of these assets representing those mechanics is rather high, and that brought both joy and concern to the Monster Hunter community. While the two systems possess a similar level of impact gameplay-wise, today we will discuss in detail only one of them, because even though Scoutflies were pretty much universally well received, the latter got into a bit of controversy. Just so everyone is on the same page, in 2018, with the release of Monster Hunter World, the game introduced a never-before-seen tool named Slinger. This small gadget was attached to the player's arm and could be used for multiple purposes, like throwing items at aimed targets, capturing endemic life, or even be used as a grappling hook to latch on designated areas for easier traversal. Often its most utilized aspect though was its incorporated shooting device, enabling the hunter to fire small projectiles with variable effects depending on ammunition used. Distract monsters, repel them, blind them, stagger them, collapse destructive terrain, or even directly damage monsters in low amounts. Despite its effects during a hunt not being major, they were significant enough to be considered useful while at the same time not too effective to the point that it felt like we had to use it. Overall, its addition was welcomed by the community without much complaint, but with the title's eventual DLC Monster Hunter World Iceborne, the Slinger received an update that would change people's perspective rather drastically. The Master Rank expansion added an extra functionality to the Slinger which ended up impacting gameplay a lot more heavily than any other mechanic mentioned so far. Now during a hunt, players can aim and shoot a modified grappling hook named Clutch Claw. Upon hitting the targeted monster, the rope will retract, pushing the hunter towards the claw, latching them to the monster at the end of the motion. Once in this position, the players can then perform one out of 3 actions. They can hit the monster with a claw to redirect it, shoot all their current Slinger ammunition to damage the monster and forcefully send it running in the direction it was facing, or activate a special weapon move that, once completed, will cause an effect called Tenderize, leaving the selected area of the monster weakened, indicated by the faded white pigmentation in said body region. Due to these properties, the Clutch Claw quickly became an indispensable component of a hunt after the release of Iceborne. But over time, as people kept using it, a growing portion of the community started to dislike this new mechanic, a sentiment that only strengthened throughout the years, to the point that to some, this addition is now considered the worst feature World ever introduced. But why this disdain for such tool? What exactly makes it this controversial? What is the true problem behind this system? For us to get the answer, we must first understand that what makes people dislike it so much is the exact same as to why it's so frequently used in the first place. It is way too good. The Clutch Claw implemented a multitude of features that altered numerous aspects of a hunt, altering its pacing, but most importantly, the effects and control players have on the monsters they face. The initial Slinger is a great addition because it manages to be a useful tool and offers skill expression options to the player through the numerous purposes the different kinds of ammunition offer without actually affecting the hunt all that much. Yes, you can stagger with it, blind enemies or activate natural traps, but those bonuses are short and limited. They solely give you windows to attack, heal or escape. They feel good because of the feedback we receive from them. They make us feel smart, resourceful, not necessarily because of the overall contribution towards succeeding the quest. If we compare a hunter that uses the Slinger to the fullest extent with another hunter that doesn't use it at all, there are differences between them, yes, but those variables are not divergent enough to be considered a big disadvantage. It is still a disadvantage, just not big enough for people to care basically. The Slinger is almost perfectly balanced where you can use it and benefit from it if you are willing to put the extra effort into it, or completely ignore it without feeling like you're missing out on anything. This is what makes this tool truly optional, and this is exactly why Clutch Claw isn't. Let's see in more detail what it can do. Throwing the monster to a wall, commonly known as wallbanging, is a rather quick set of actions that, upon a successful execution, deal 2% of the monster's maximum health and damage, and knocks it down momentarily, similar in duration to a traditional well-executed mount. This can not only be done at any time and rather quickly, but also many times per hunt, arguably overshadowing mounting altogether, and due to the frequency and effects, makes hunts considerably easier, especially if you decide to min-max it. Another, and perhaps even more controversial aspect of the Clutch Claw is tenderizing. This status is applied only whenever a hunter is latched on a monster and performs a specialized move that inflicts tender points on that particular body part. Once a certain threshold is met, that region of the monster becomes tenderized, while under this modifier, the monster becomes susceptible to numerous effects. That region is now weaker, receiving 37.5% extra damage. It softens that body area, reducing the chances of bouncing players' attacks. It triggers certain armor skills faster or easier, like weakness exploit, and last but not least, makes that area easier to break or cut. All these attributes make tenderizing an extremely useful tool. Almost too useful. Now, keep in mind that the monster's health was increased with this mechanic in mind, so it's not that the monsters got easier to kill after Iceborne. I mean, they are easier to kill if you exploit the system, but we can ignore that for now. However, I don't believe that's even the problem that the community has with it in the first place. Correct me if I'm in the wrong here, but from the many people that express their discontentment about the Clutch Claw, don't necessarily think that the mechanic itself is flawed or unbalanced, but rather too good to the point that it feels like it's a necessity. And let me break it down real quick. There is a big distinction between something being necessary and feeling necessary. If the claw was truly needed, then players simply could not finish a quest without using it. It would become an established requirement to complete a hunt, and that is just not the case. People can avoid it and still kill the monster just fine and quite comfortably even. But even though it's not an actual necessity, it feels that way because the benefits we get from its use are so significant and impactful to the hunt that in the case that we don't use it, there's a sensation that we are losing efficiency, that we are not playing the game optimally. And that is the true issue with the Clutch Claw. It's not that it's overpowered, but instead that it does not feel optional. Hence why people immediately got concerned the moment they noticed the Slinger in the trailer. They are worried that the claw will come back with it and bring the same forceful feeling to the hunts in Wilds. And as of now, that still remains a possibility. Personally, I'm also of the opinion that the claw should not return in any capacity. The clutch moves were neat and all that, but the huge advantage wallbanging and tenderizing provided to hunters every 5 minutes, if that, was way too much to not condition the community to use it on a regular basis. Because people don't want that. They don't want to feel like they have to do something or use a specific mechanic. It should feel like a choice, like Slinger was, or at least a very limited and restricted event like mounting is. So unless they heavily modify everything related to the claw, its inclusion to the first 6th generation title would be an overall net negative. A huge thank you to my Patreon supporters for supporting the channel and the content I create. If you wanna join the ranks, you can do so for only $1 a month, the link will be in the description. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and opinions down below, join our Discord server, engage with the community, and I hope to see you all next time.